Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Welcome to Crochet Podcast, episode 127. Thank you so much for inviting me over. If you are new, my name is Krista. This is my Secret Yarnery, and this podcast is every Wednesday. There's also a live chat on Fridays, tutorials on the weekends, and crochet goodness throughout the week. So if any of that's of interest to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button under this video so you don't miss out on any of the fun. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my finished object, my whip, what I am working on, as well as stack in the back, and also my yarn haul and all the goodness I brought back from my trip to Dubai. Now, before we get started, I want to give a big congratulations to Shay K. Ray Crochet. Congratulations, you won my latest pattern. Shay K. Ray's comment was, "The tulip blanket will be a great way to use up some partial skeins. I love it now that it has more color. I'm located in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm excited to do a find on this page to see if anyone else is nearby. Thanks for having us list our location so we can find one another. Stay hooked, hugs, and blessings." Well, thank you so much, Shay K. Ray Crochet. Send me an email, krista@secretyarnery.com, and I will send you my latest pattern. And if you want to win a free pattern, all you have to do is keep watching and I'll tell you how to do it. If you're enjoying this video, hit that thumbs up. Now it's time for finished objects. Yes, there was an S on the end of that. These are gorgeous. These are like my version of chrysanthemums. Is that how you say it? So they are gorgeous little flowers. They all have little leaves underneath. And these are on knitting needles, but you can also put them on barbecue skewers, or you could even just leave them flat and use them as appliques. So this is a written pattern and tutorial, both right and left-handed already. So I'll link that actually in the comments and in the description box. Those are my latest gorgeous flowers. We are building an entire springtime bouquet. So just a whole bunch of really cute flowers that you can put around your house, either just roses all together, or you can mix and match all the blooms that we are going to be adding to it. Also, it's not part of the Bloomscape Cal, but it's definitely a spin-off of the Bloomscape Cal, which I will be showing you in the next podcast or two when we're working on it. But we are doing a crochet along this year, which is one new flower granny square every month, and also doing some little flowers on stems to just kind of add some pizzazz, some spring to your decor. So this is my latest finished object. Now, before I jump into whips, works in progress, I want to give a big thank you, usually to our channel members. We have neighbors, friends, and family. But today, I just want to give a big thank you to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for clicking on the thumbnail. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. Just you watching helps this channel so much. And if you want to help a little more, you can give it a thumbs up. Likes are free, and that really helps more people find the video. So if you're enjoying yourself, go ahead and hit that button under the video, and that helps tremendously. So thank you so much. Now, whips, works in progress. I have one, and I am loving on it too much, so I will show you what it is. This is the Easter egg blanket, also on my sofa. This is also the Easter egg blanket. So this is the same blanket, but in Caron Simply Soft. So this is one skein of Caron Simply Soft, a little less. I made some hearts out of it, like 2 hearts. So there's probably about 10 or 20 grams missing from it. I doubt there's 20 grams, but there might be 10 grams missing from it. So this is one skein of Caron Simply Soft stripes. I want to say it's new Times Square colorway. And this is the first, so I did this first, and then I was like, that is kind of wide for what I want to do, because Oh, I could show you this. I think I was showing you the wrong way. There. This is kind of wide for what I want to do. I'd want to do a tutorial and I kind of want to use up the yarn. Not that I don't like it. I like when it's worked up. I like how it feels. It feels really great. But working with Caron Simply Soft, I find it a bit splitty. I have to pay attention to it a little bit. And I prefer to work with yarns that I don't have to pay attention to. So I'm just going to use it up to make a blanket. But then I'm like, that is just too wide. Well, if I keep it this wide, I'm going to have to use a lot of skeins, because this is only one skein. So to make it tall enough to be a blanket, that's like a lot of yarn. So I went back to how my starting chain, and I did a stitch marker every 24 chains in the beginning. This is every 12 chains on this side. So then I just folded it. I took away 24 chains, basically, and then looked at it and I'm like, yeah, that's a better size for me, like for a tutorial, for just working like a nice pattern, a nice blanket up. That is a good size for me. So I started it again. I'll show you the clip just of the size difference. So each of those is the same amount of yarn. Now the long skinny one is about 10 grams less. I did make two heart, or at least made one heart ornament. I think I might have made two. So I made two heart ornaments. So if you're looking at that size difference, that is the same amount of yarn, but you get a lot farther if you narrow down your starting chain. So I'm on my third cake now. So just 3 cakes, and look at the size of the blanket. It's just right, isn't it? So I'm just gonna I'm gonna finish up the third cake, then I'm gonna frog this cake back, or I'm going to work it. I'm going to crochet straight from here. So instead of crocheting from a ball yarn, I'm going to crochet from my first try at it, and then that is going to be the size my blanket is going to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4 skeins of yarn. So about 560 grams of yarn, which is just about right for a baby blanket. I usually say 500 to 600. So that works out pretty great. It's 500 and it will be 560 grams. So that is super cute, and I'm really liking the pattern a lot. It is 2 different rows, but there's also 2 different starts. So it's kind of 4 different rows, but you can always kind of see what you're going to do. That being said, there are some tips and tricks for keeping your edges straight. So I'll be sharing all of that in the tutorial that'll be coming up whenever, in a couple weeks. Not now, I still have to finish it. So this is my work in progress. And now it's time for tip of the week. Tip of the week. Don't keep going. If you think your blanket is going to be too wide or you're not sure, just use up 50 grams or 100 grams of yarn. See how wide it is, see how far you get, and it is not too late to start again. Just get a new ball of yarn, start the width you want, and see if you like it better. All of those extra stitches on the end, that all takes up your time, it all takes up your yarn, and if you don't need that extra width, just shaving it back when you're still starting out, you're still on your first skein of yarn, or you haven't started your second skein of yarn, it is not too late to make that change. You will save so much time in not doing those extra stitches all on that one side of your work. So go ahead and just start again with a narrower piece, or even the other way around. If it's too narrow, go ahead and start again, making it wider. Don't be scared to start again. So I hope that helps you judge your scale of whatever project you're working on in the future. And now it's time for your questions. So these are questions from last week's podcast, and if you have any questions for me, go ahead and leave them in the comments under this video so I can answer them in an upcoming podcast. First question is from Katrin VH. It says, hi Krista, I have a question. You say you prefer a sharp needle to sew in your threads, but if one crochets over the tail at the start of a color, isn't that gonna wiggle out after a while? Can I also just sew it in with a sharp tip needle, please? So yes, that is exactly what I do. I work over my yarn for maybe 3 stitches, and then I let it hang out, because you don't want to work over it all in one direction. You want to work your yarn back opposite, so that when it stretches, when the crochet gets used and grows and relaxes, you don't want your tail wiggling out. So definitely I work over it only for about 3 stitches, and then I let it go so I can just sew it back in the opposite direction with a sharp tip needle. And with a sharp tip needle, now this is up to you, I'm not telling you exactly how to do it, but if you are using a blunt tip needle, the rule is you have to go back and forth 3 times, so 3 different directions. So forward, back, up, forward, back, back, like however you're gonna do it, so 3 different directions. If you have a sharp tip needle, you can pretty much work over it for those 3 stitches and sew back through the fat part of your stitches, and then just kind of like come back a smudge, so only twice, and that will be stuck for eternity. So definitely sharp tip needles help, and working over your ends does not mean your ends are done. You still have to sew them in. That should be a tip of the week, actually. Someone should remind me. So thanks for asking that. Valerie asks, I loved this week's episode. The project planner is a great idea. Please publish it. I have your other worksheets and find them useful. I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and I've lived here most of my adult life. I've been crocheting for over 50 years, and I still have a second project, a 70s era acrylic granny blanket, which is still being used. Project 1 was made of a wool covered pillow and was washed. Whoopsie, learn my lesson. I'm a left-hander and find your tutorials invaluable. I learned by watching my right-handed mother and crocheting from the wrong side until a year ago. I watched your How to Crochet series and learned how to work on the right side. You're never too old to learn. Please keep making the left-handed videos. Thank you so much. I'm so glad they are useful to you. She says, I have one question. A couple years ago, you were making a hobbit blanket, and I was fascinated with your work and making it a perfect square. I haven't heard it mentioned in a while. Is it still a UFO, or was it a stack in the back? I loved the colors. Thank you for your hard work. I'm about ready to start a sober granny. It will be my second. Well, that's great, Valerie. And yes, the hobbit cloak, it is still, I have it in my whips because I still love it. I still want to work on it, but that is something I want to be working on when I don't have anything else to work on. It's like a backup. Like all you have to do is double crochet. So just do, like a de-stressor. But I do have it here and I'd love to show you. So this is my hobbit cloak whip basket. Underneath these gorgeous skeins of yarn, I'm using Favorite from Ice Yarns. In the bottom, I still have my cakes. If you remember, I did frog it back, I don't know how many times, 5 or 6, a lot, to get it to be a perfect square. I have it written down of what I've done row by row, so I will be able to keep working on it. But it is a big granny square. Well, it's not that big. It's a granny square, but it is also a square. So how you can tell if it's square, if you fold it in half, and then this is why I would frog it back. I'm like, it was wrong. So you fold it in half, so it's a rectangle. Then you fold the end into the middle. Let me show you. That way. And you can see that the width of the end of the blanket is the same as the width in the middle. So that is what she was talking about, saying fascinated by it being a true square, because I want it to be a true square. I am making it into a cloak eventually when I work on it enough. So it will be, hold on, something like this shape. So this would be the front. There'd be a little hood action. That would be the back. And I want it to be a true square because I don't want anything sticking out here. If you don't have a true square, underneath, this will be like the lower back of your body. So then over your bum, you'd have a little extra piece of stitches like this. You know, like when there's just too many stitches in that one spot. So I want it to be nice and flat and figure flattering, which is why I'm spending so much time making it into a true square. Now I have not worked on this. It's not quite a year. I was working on it in March and April. So yeah, it's 11 months since I've worked on it. But it is not, when I've marked my different corners for what I was doing for those corners, there is a mathematical thing you have to do to keep it square. Now I can't tell you what that is because I wrote it down and I didn't memorize it. So I'm not working on that until I have, you know, peace of mind and everything, because frogging it back again, like I just have to like really follow what I was doing. So it's kind of like following a pattern, following my own pattern, so that it is so great. Now I have a 5 milli here. What was that from? Oh, that's from my other blankie. Good. But I do have what I was doing. I do have it written down, and I do have marked on that, on the big granny square. I want it has to be big, like about 5 feet. So I have a lot to still work on this. It will be done eventually. Great for working on in the colder weather, which I'm waiting for. There. So that is my Hobbit cloak. Sonia C asks, I love Stack in the Back. My favorite is All the Shrugs. Question for you, will you ever do a project using Tunisian crochet? I would bet that I would eventually do one. I have like a blanket Tunisian needle, or you know, what do you call it? Like a cable needle, I guess. In knitting, it would be a circular needle. So I have one of those for Tunisian crochet. I have the Tunisian needles, the Tunisian hooks. I have the one that you can put enough stitches on to make a blanket. I would imagine I would be doing it in the, like eventually, because I have the stuff to do it, but am I doing it today? No. Am I doing it this year? No. I have nothing that I want to do in Tunisian, but I have the supplies, so I'm going to assume that one day, yes, I would be doing something in Tunisian, although I don't know when. Nora asks, hi, absolutely lovely, and your tutorials are so easy to follow. Thank you for your help, time, and skills. Appreciated, Yarny friend from Hollyland. I have a question about yarn. I have made a pattern in knit, but how can I make the pattern in crochet? The yarn is called Nordica from Premiere. Thank you. I'm assuming it's one of those, like a puzzle kind of yarn, where if you knit it, it does a cute little design, like a fancy sock yarn, so your stripes all kind of line up and they're different kind of patterns. That only works in knitting because those colorways are built just for the amount of yarn it takes to do a knit stitch, a knit or a purl stitch. If you are doing crochet, you can try in single crochet. It will still look nice and stripy, but you will not get that design that you would get if you knit. I know there's some in Premiere and in Ice Yarns also where you get like a little row of green or a couple rows of green, and then you get a row of like neutral, and you get a row of like that looks like flowers at the end. So you can actually like build an automatic flower garden from these types of yarns, which is fantastic. But do they work great in crochet? No. They are designed more for knitting 100%. You do get a different look. You do get a kind of stripe action, but it does not have the same look to it where you're like, oh wow, that is a row of grass and a row of flowers. You won't actually see that much of it, but you can definitely try just using single crochet. And Denise asks, hi from Sydney, Ohio. It's nice to see a couple people from Ohio watching your podcast. Krista, I so enjoy your sweet personality and how you twirl when you put your projects on. You're an excellent teacher, and I've learned so much from your tutorials. Thank you so very much. Can you make a butterfly in a granny square? I'm currently making your newest Daisy Granny Square blanket, but I'd love to add some butterflies too. That is such a cute idea. I have not thought about it, but I will definitely start thinking about it and put that on my list. That's a great idea. So thank you so much. Our last question is from Steve. He says, hi Krista, curious question. What project did you bring to work on, or did you bring something for your trip to Dubai? Interested in the size and what it was, etc. Missed but watching after the vlog. Take care. Yes, Steve, that is a good question. So I was working on roses at the time and trying to think of how I could turn those into granny squares. I was gonna bring like a baby pink yarn and an apple green yarn, the original colors of my tulip stitch blanket. And I was gonna do pink roses with green leaves because I thought it could kind of match. I could do like a pillow cover to match the tulip blankets. It could be like a rose pillow cover and a tulip blanket. It would be kind of cute together, kind of for spring. And then the night before I was flying, I'm like, am I gonna be that lady at the airport with like baby pink and lime green? And then I was like, I don't want to be that lady at the airport with a yarn that is like so bright Like, you can't pretend you didn't see it. You'd be like, oh, wow, I saw that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want it. I'm like, oh, I don't, oh. So I'm like, no, what could I bring to work on? I only want to bring one ball of yarn. I want to bring one hook. I brought my yarn cutting pendant, so I didn't have scissors. I was like thinking ahead, but I didn't want like a bright colored yarn. I wanted to be working on roses. So I had an epiphany and I was like, boom, magic light. Magic light to the rescue. So I brought magic light and then I just worked on making little roses in magic light. Aren't those so dreamy? So I didn't even do that many roses while I was there, maybe just like 3 or 4. I did more on the way home, on the airplane home. But those are so cute in magic light. So that is what I worked on the plane and when I was in Dubai. Which brings us to my Dubai yarn haul. Are you ready for it? Have you been wondering what I brought back from that amazing store, Craft Middle East? I know. So, are you ready? Boom. Right there. Now I do have another ball of this blue. I got that blue for my youngest Anthony. He's into crochet and I thought he might really enjoy working with that fingering yarn. And then I got these colors so that this would be so cute to make like a throw, because it's so squishy, like so squishy and great, just to like drape over the edge of a sofa, but in rainbow colors, or almost rainbow colors, just this nice sunny springtime rainbow version of it. So 2 balls of each of this loopy yarn. So this is Ali's Puffy, and it is quite a big loop. Quite big loops. So I got a couple questions also of how do you use it? And I also was so lucky to receive this as a gift. It's an ombre. It's 600 grams. So they say it's enough to do a little blanket like that. So from dark to light or light to dark. Wouldn't that be so cute? And I love the colors. So just to drape over a piece of furniture, pull up on you when you're watching TV, just something like, you know, super squishy and fun. So how you do it, let me show you my son's, let me show you Anthony's. So that is how it works, or that's how it looks. And you can either put the loops in from the front or from the back, and then it's either a knit or a purl stitch. So he's working on a blanket, or he was working on a blanket. So this is the back side of it. And then what you do is you just take the loops of the yarn and tuck the loop in from the back or from the front. Just every old loop gets a new loop in the middle. So you just go along using the actual loops from the yarn. And then the trick is just to not skip any loops. You just go all the way through. You can use a crochet hook. Like you can use like a 7 milli or 8 milli just to yank these through faster. But you can also just do it one by hand. And it's actually really fun, and it's really good for kids also, or people that are starting with crochet, because you don't have to have a hook. Oops, I lost one in here, see? I have to go back and grab that guy. But that is how you do it. You use these as your loops for your, you use these as crochet loops. So that is really fun to do. So I'm going to be working on this blanket in the future, just like something fun to work up, kind of skinny but also kind of cute. So we'll see how that one goes. And if you are interested in a tutorial for loopy yarn, let me know. The gist of it is, every once in a while you have to go the other way around so it doesn't curl. So if you're working in from the back, putting each new loop through, every once in a while you have to put the loops in from the front just to kind of keep it from curling up, kind of like single crochet curls up. So if you're interested in a tutorial for that, let me know. I have heard that this yarn's on sale in a lot of the shops because people don't totally know that you just use those loops for crocheting. I didn't know either. So the left-handed crocheter taught me. Right here, she was showing me how to do it. And I was like, what? That's how you do it? And I thought back in my head, I'm like, do I not have some loopy yarn from Ice Yarns? Because I really think I do. So I came home and looked in my Yarnscape. Anybody remember this? This is years old, years. But I love it. I got these colors. I thought it would make a really great bath mat. You know, like a nice little rug. It'd be like so squishy. Plus it's microfiber, so it soaks up water and dirt like crazy. So I'm like, let me try and see if I can use these baby loops the same way that you use the Elise Puffy. So they're smaller. You have to use a crochet hook for these tiny loops. But sure enough, I didn't do much of it. And I'm working from the outside of my ball, so there's not much. But you can see those little knit stitches, right? So you can actually make like something that would look like it is knit completely. So you could do like a jumper or a vest. A vest might be easy because you could just do 2 rectangles and then just leave the neck open and leave the armholes open at the top, and it would look like a cute little knit vest. So cute. So yes, you can use chenille loopy. I'll link it down below. You can use chenille loopy to do little fake knitting projects. I didn't know. I had to try it. After Afton told me, I was like, what is even going on? Also, if you loved Afton, or if you love Afton as much as I love Afton, let me know. We might be able to convince her to, I don't know, maybe come over, like we could maybe interview her or something, or she could show us her patterns, her crochet stuff, her Yarnscape. Maybe she could give us a tour of her own yarnery. That'd be really fun. Anyway, if you want to hear more and learn more about Afton, let me know in the comments under the video. Now, what else I got from that gorgeous yarn shop is some fray check. So this is Prim brand fray check. So it's just a little liquid you can put on the edge of your fabric to keep it from fraying. I thought I'm gonna try it for my temperature blanket, for my Softly Baby tassels. I thought I'm gonna try to put a little drop and see if it stops Softly Baby, there's one right there, from fraying. See if it gets a little messy down there. Good Lord. There we are. There we go. So I thought we could use a little drop and see if it'll stop Softly Baby from fraying at the ends. I've also heard it can make the textile a bit crunchy or crispy, so I'm just gonna try it. I left these tails super long, so I can try it just on like the longer ones and see how I feel. I think I'm gonna put a drop on it wherever I kind of want to be cutting it, and then just snipping like mid-drop. So it will just be that drop of stop fray or fray check just at the very tip of the Softly Baby ones. But I'm gonna try it first and see what I think about it. If you have ever used a fray check on your yarn, let me know how it worked out for you. I have one of these. I think it was about, what was it? Oh, it has the price on the back. That would be easier than trying to remember, wouldn't it? Good Lordy. So it was 30 dirham, so that was a little less, probably about $9, something like that for a little bottle like this. So got that. Also cruised through the entire clover section, which was difficult because I love everything clover, but I don't need that much stuff and I'm trying to be like frugal. So I did grab, do you know what that is? It is a clover seam ripper. So this little seam ripper, I love it. My first seam ripper as a grown-up is a Prim, and I love it. It's navy blue, and if I can't find my Prim seam ripper, I'm like, oh my gosh. I have generic ones to use. I used to sew a lot, compulsively, like a lot. So I have a ton of sewing supplies, and like I take it seriously. So I have my Prim seam ripper is the best that I've had, but now I'm like, ooh, I have a clover. Now I have not used this yet, but I saved it to show you. I love it. I had to take it out of the package though, because I'm like, ooh, look, a clover one. So a good seam ripper makes all the difference if you do sewing. Don't joke about a seam ripper. The good ones really help go through the thread and not cut through your fabric. So it's like it's not your hook, it's not you, it's your hook. It's like it's not you, it's your seam ripper. Seam rippers and crochet hooks both are very good tools to have good ones of. So I'm so excited about that. I brought home some snacks for the kids. They're all devoured. I did bring home a little Garrett's caramel popcorn, Chicago tradition. What? It smelled so good. I'm like, are you serious right now? I opened it yesterday. Oh, I'm salivating. If this was smell-o-vision, you'd be grabbing a coffee and freaking out right now. It is so good. I don't want to say better than poppycock, better than poppycock. So good. You can actually taste the butter. So good. So I opened this yesterday. I was going to film this podcast yesterday, but it was just so hot. So it is 7:30 in the morning the next day. It's Wednesday today. But I was holding myself off. I'm like, no, I'm not going to open it till the Dubai podcast. It's so good. I'm salivating. But then I'm like, okay, I'm going to open it anyway. And then my husband, he's like, what's that? Caramel popcorn? I don't want caramel popcorn. He went to school in Chicago. So I'm like, it's Chicago, babe. Like, you got to try it. And he's like, I tried it. And he's like, he took a handful. He's like, yep, that's pretty good. I'm like, right? So this is now decoration in my yarnery. Although the kids now know there's food inside. So it's going to be a race to the bottom of this little bucket right here. And then I also brought back beef jerky. You might be able to find this in Nairobi. If you're in Nairobi and you know where I can get this, please let me know. Maybe Monty's has it at Sart Center or the candy shop at a Village Market. I don't know. Let me know if you have seen this around. It is so good. This apparently is like the family size. It's not. It's single serving. They have baby packs. It's kind of like cat treat size. Like there's like a few pieces inside. I'm like, what is that? So I do have 2 packs left. Original's already gone. I have sweet and hot and teriyaki, and my boys love this. Like they see it and flock. I've hidden these in like my handbag cupboard. They won't watch the video and they're sleeping right now. So I have these up high and hidden, or they would also be gone. What else did I bring back? I think that is about it. Now, before I tell you how to win a free pattern, I have one more comment to read. It's not a comment, it's an email. And the email is from Linda. So Linda sent me an email, and I love Linda. She shows up in my customers on my website, secretyarnery.com, as the person who has spent the most money of all time. She has bought every single pattern, which is amazing. I didn't even know I have that many patterns. I'm like, how could you have spent that much money in my store? And then I realized, well, I thought I had 60 patterns. Apparently I have 122. So she's a little behind on the latest ones. However, this is the email I got from her. She says, hi, Krista. How do the bundles work? As you can tell, I've bought nearly all your patterns. I have 6 3-inch binders full of your patterns. I put them in sheet protectors. I do, however, want to get several of your newest patterns. Just think, since I bought the first pattern from you, my husband has built me my very own craft room, including bookcases with drawers at the bottom of each bookcase. He also built an awesome desk, and you started all of that. So thank you. I will take some pictures and send them to you. Your patterns are the only ones I can read. Thanks again, Linda. What? I love you, Linda. Thank you so much. How bundles work is an automatic discount. So you just add the patterns to your shopping cart. And if you buy 2 patterns, it's 5%, 3, it goes up by 5% increments for however many patterns you are purchasing, up to I think 5. And then that is 20% discount automatic. So you just save that automatically at checkout. So you just add them to your shopping cart and it'll be an automatic discount. You don't have to do any sort of code or anything like that. And we're doing that the first week of every month. So this is bundle week. Bundles are still here this week. So if you have any patterns on your wish list, it's a great time to grab them. They are really, really on sale, automatic. You don't have to do any sort of crazy codes or checkout procedure. It's just automatic. And how great how she keeps the patterns. And I'm like, wow. So 6 3-inch binders, that's how many patterns I have. Oh my gosh. So I have my binder, I have my patterns printed double-sided in like one probably 3-inch binder, but I haven't put any new ones probably for the last year and a half, which is probably why it still fits in that binder. But why I stopped kind of hole punching them and putting them in and adding them is it was kind of a pain in the butt because I think the binder's so full, and then getting to the section and flipping it here and flipping it there. So I think page protectors would definitely help, and I think also 6 binders instead of 1 binder might also help. So this brings us to question of the week. So if you want to win a free pattern, all you have to do is, are you enjoying yourself? Go ahead and hit this button under this video right now so you don't miss out on any more fun content just like this. Yes, you have to be a subscriber of the channel, and you also have to answer question of the week. Question of the week is, how do you keep your patterns organized? How do you keep your patterns stored? Do you keep them in a binder, in a folder, in a box? I have tried so many different ways. I used to have them in a box. Let me actually grab that for you. This is how I started keeping track of my patterns. In a container, just like a storage container that fit them. It doesn't fit them necessarily standing up. Oops. But laying down a little bit it does. Let me show you. So I have them all in this bucket, and I have them by dividers. So I have blocks, apparel, household, holidays, stitches, blankets, bags and baskets, techniques, and then ideas at the back. And then in between here, because these are my own patterns, I used to have them for classes in here, I also have the actual pattern title on this side, but I wouldn't be doing that anymore because I don't have to like have a whole bunch printed to give out to my students, but that really did help me. So the category is on this side and the pattern is on that side, and then all of my patterns are just in the right section. So that is the first way I kept track of my patterns. This is the second way I've kept track of my patterns. So this is just a binder, and then I have my yarn conversion chart in the front because I always need that. Double-sided because it doesn't matter which way I need it. And then I have all of these sections in here for what I need them to be. So I have, oops, amigurumi. Oh, so I did it alphabetical. So I have amigurumi, bags, baskets, blankets, blocks, borders, decor, hats, holiday, miscellaneous, pillows, rugs, scarves, shawls, slippers, stitches, sweaters, techniques, and Christmas. So that is all in here. And then I would just flip to that section to find the pattern I need. But my book is, I think it's just getting too full, and I haven't added any patterns for a long time. So I think that's why I kind of gave up on the hole punching thing. The other thing I didn't totally like about it is if you want to use that pattern, then you have to like take that pattern out of the binder. You can't just like, you have to like open up the binder, take it out, then you have to remember to put it back in the binder. I barely put away yarn when I'm done with it. Do you know what I mean? I don't need another thing I have to take out and put back. I'm like, oh. So I think what I'm gonna do for me is go back to my bucket version. Where's my bucket? My pattern bucket. And once I've updated all of my patterns to like the new version, I'm gonna print them all out, staple them, and put them in the appropriate category. I might improve my categories, get them a little more, you know, more of what I have tutorials for, what I have patterns for, and then just keep them in that section, because it is a lot easier for me to just flip into a container into the right section and grab a pattern or throw a pattern back. Plus you can also just throw the pattern on top of the container until you open it up the next time to put it away. Like there's a lot of other steps that keep it together that are easier or lazier than opening up a binder or putting the piece of paper near the binder. Like a container is just more, it's an easier dumping ground for me. So I think that's what I'm gonna be doing, but I have to get my patterns updated. So I'm working on that. So to win a free pattern, answer that comment under this video, be a subscriber, and next week I'll be picking a random comment to win a pattern. And now it's time for Stack in the Back. It's the middle stack in the bottom. So I'm gonna say, is it that stack right there? Right there. I'm gonna go get that stack. It's a big stack. So here is the stack. Holy smokes. So this, anybody remember the name of this one? This is my Roadkill bunny scarf in silk. Isn't that so cute? So it started out as an Etsy pattern. I bought an Etsy pattern, and then I just didn't do it. I didn't follow it. I made my ears with like the pink on the inside, and I think I did like this much of the pattern, and then I'm like, that's wrong. So I just did my own for the rest of it. But it's still, I didn't write it down. It's not my pattern, but I could do a pattern like it. But it's so cute. And then the little pom-pom, a silk pom-pom tail. It's adorable. So this is my Roadkill bunny scarf. Very cute. So I guess I do amigurumi. This is as close to amigurumi as I get, other than plants and flowers. Oh, my Erigeneia. This is getting a good old spin. This is not my pattern either, but I have permission from the designer to do a tutorial. So I did, and also in that tutorial, I teach you how to read a chart. And I don't know anybody that followed that tutorial and has not been able to read a chart ever since. So if reading a chart is of interest to you, you've been thinking about it, go ahead and make this tutorial, make the Erigeneia shawl. It is a playlist. I'll link it up in the cards, and it's a gorgeous pattern and a gorgeous shawl. This I just made with natural cotton from Ice Yarns. So it is heavy and not hot, and it's also really big. Let me show you. Isn't that fun? And it has the nicest border on it. Well, I guess I could show you the border that way, hanging down. Isn't that pretty? So this is my Erigeneia. It is big. It's very big. Okay, I got it folded. Let me put my Roadkill on it. There we go. Oh, my first cardie. So this was my first sweater that I made, my first wearable. It's like one of those hexagon granny square sweaters. I just used some random clearance ice yarn, and that's my problem, because everybody's like, how much yarn did you use? And I need the same yarn, and blah, 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 blah. And no, I didn't even keep track of it. So it's just a hexagon sweater. Now the problem with it, but it was a very good learning experience. I thought I was this size, which I still think I am. However, it looks really good on people that are bigger than me. Like, it looks fantastic. I'm like, that looks amazing on you. Why do I look like I'm drowning in a sweater? Because I physically think, or I mentally think, I'm like a larger person than I am. So I'll show you this one, and you can, now every time I make a wearable, I have to tell myself, you're not that big. Be serious, you're not that big. Anyway, you can have a laugh, it's fine. I'll show it to you. I mean, it's a little big. I wanted it cozy, like I wanted it to be like a cozy sweater, but it is actually like a kimono, you know? It's like you can't cook in it. The yarn's weird. So there's a lot of yarn and it's soft, it's really soft, but it's not a hot yarn. Like you don't get hot in it and like it doesn't warm you up because I don't know, it's just weird. So I would not use the same yarn again. I'd use this yarn for like a bag or like, you know, like a tote or a basket. I think that would be really cute. For a sweater, no, I would not use that yarn. So it's a really big cozy sweater, but it's not cozy. It feels cozy. It does not warm you up. This is my Christmas tree skirt. It's huge. I have a large Christmas tree for a million years, and I just can't find a better tree to replace it. So that's how that is. And I do have, well, it's not a circle. It's like an open one, you know, so I can throw it around a real tree if I felt like it. What I should do is do the same kind of pattern, but in a full circle. Like the granny in the round granny square baby blanket, but into a Christmas tree skirt. So just skipping the first part, then we'll just go over that stick. So put your tree skirt down before you're building your tree, that way. And then just have it there the whole year. That'd be a lot easier. So this is how big it is. It didn't take as long as you think. So this is Eyelash Dazzle and Rockstar, but it's really big. This is half of it. It's still folded in half. Oof. So that's for my pink and green Christmas. I change my colors every year, so I only use this for pink or green. And then probably maybe like every 5 years is pink or green. I do green and turquoise, pink and green. I do those up like more often than the other colors because I have so much stuff that goes with it. It's like an easier to decorate for Christmas. So that is my Christmas tree skirt. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is my very first shawl. This is my very first shawl that I actually wore. Like my first shawl that was like something you could wear and not be like, oh, did you make that? Like I was proud of it. My first proud wearable. Okay, you ready? It's a C to C, so it's a regular C to C triangle, but what makes it so great, and I don't know what I did, I guess I could look at it and figure it out, is the border. Isn't that kind of so cute? And this is regular Kenyan acrylic, so like 60 cent a ball yarn. But I think it's so cute. It's like drippy and kind of shaky and kind of tassely, but not lazy. Like it doesn't look like you cheated, right? Okay, now I'm dizzy. Don't do that one first thing in the morning. It was fun though. So that is my first wearable shawl. And I did a cute little thing along the top. So like the whole thing is edged. Cute. It's old and it is well used. Now this one is cozy. This will warm you up. This is like a proper yarn for staying cozy. But I do like it, the color, I like everything about it because you can wear it to the grocery store, you can wear it anywhere. It's not like so flashy where it's like, oh, look what you're wearing. It's like, no, I'm just comfortable. Just a comfortable crochet shawl. That's cute. This, oh, I made this, the yarn I don't like about this. This is a coronation scarf, and I had a couple I had like a pack of yarn from Ice Yarns, and the yarn's great, but it's not great for wearing. It doesn't feel scratchy, it feels itchy. But the pattern's great. So I made this one to wear. I'm like, you can always have a gray scarf, but it's like, doesn't feel good. So I have a gray scarf. You could wear it like on the outside of a jacket. Like if you had a lapel, you could wear it like around your lapel, but you can't wear it like on your neck. Nope. Feels great. Scarella could wear it. That's a Scarella fashion event right there. This is also one of my first wearables. I have an idea to make it, it's like a capelet, but to make it a bit longer. I think this one's a bit too short. And also it's like on your neck. So it's not my favorite capelet, but it's good for cold weather because it does go up on your neck. You can also like fold it down like that, and then you could pull it down. But I feel like I could make it like another 10 stitches longer, and then it would be like a total jacket. Then I think I would wear it more. I mean, I like it, it's cute, but I want it to be longer down to there, and then I think it would be great in colder weather. So not today, Iron Eagle, but if you want to see a tutorial for that kind of cute little number, let me know also. I'm flexible on tutorials for the older things. This was gonna be one of my New Year's Eve shawls. I think it's my Drunken Granny in the most gorgeous fabric, or the most gorgeous yarn. Look at that. It's really heavy. I think this is metallic cotton from Ice Yarns. Can you imagine? Did I say it? Yes, metallic cotton. Now the problem is there's no more metallic cotton. So now if I do it, everyone's gonna want the same yarn, because who wouldn't? This is great, even I want the same yarn. Look how it just hangs on you. Do you see that? It's like fruit. It has weight, it has glitter, it has glamour. It's gorgeous. Do I have enough yarn? No. I mean, I could just leave it like this because it's so great. But could I do a tutorial and tell you to make the same one? It would not be the same in acrylic. I can tell you that. It has to have this hang. Isn't that great? It's so good. And I love the color. So we have to find a yarn to do this in, I guess. It's perfect. It's like a perfect shawl for, you know, if you're going out for dinner, you have a little black dress. You want to like, what do you call it? Zhuzh, you want to zhuzh it up? This would be perfect for it. You could have it like over your shoulders, you know what I mean? You could have it hanging down. You could do it like the, you know, the traditional way, or the other traditional way, or you could just have it like just fashionable, like an actual shawl. It's so cute, right? So I'm loving that one, but ran out of yarn, and you can't get any more yarn. So it's kind of, well, it's not finished obviously because I need more yarn. But so cute, right? So I'm gonna have to put a list of yarn that I'm looking for, like metallic evening glamour. If you have any yarn suggestions for metallic evening glamour, let me know in the comments. And that finishes our stack in the back. So what was your favorite part of stack in the back? And is there anything in there you'd like a tutorial for? Let me know. Now I've got to put away that stack. So good. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm waiting for you in that video right there, and stay hooked.